I spend every August in Edinburgh, trading the fluorescent hum of my Manchester office for 10-hour days of stand-up, sketch, and site-specific circus wedged into vaults that smell like 9 centuries of candle smoke. The Fringe is my reset button. 3 weeks when strangers in cardboard crowns can sell you existential puppetry at 2 a.m. and nobody blinks. Around 5, I clocked out of my shift at Bristow Square and met my uni friend Lily, freelance photojournalist, Nikon slung like an anchor. I noticed a second performer leaning against the stone arcade beyond him. 6'4", lean, bowler hat tipped low. He'd peeled 2 flyers, offered them with a gloved flourish. Lily scanned the QR. Phone loaded a minimalist page. Coordinates beneath George, the 4th bridge. Entrance through Candlemaker Close. Follow the lanterns. I rationalized. I had backup batteries, a venue pass radio, and Lily's Nikon strap ready to swing like nunchucks. We killed hours in a spoken word basement, then at 23:15 headed for Candlemaker. Rain misted. Neon bled across wet cobbles. Normal for immersive shows, though I noticed no Faraday mesh. He spoke with gentle baritone about hidden tempos, the silence between Edinburgh's heartbeats, inviting us to close eyes and listen. The metronome slowed 55 BP, then 50, somewhere behind Wood Creek. I cracked eyelid. 2 black-clad assistants lifted our bags from rack, exiting through previously hidden curtain. Alarm bells in my head started a drumline. We parked bags in a labeled rack at the back again, standard. Lily dropped Allen key into boot. We sat. He paced, satisfied, left. We resumed escape. Knife man lunged. Dublin woman flung chair legs first, tripping him. Shaft open to spiral steps ending behind a maintenance door inside National Museum courtyard. Security guard blinked as 7 adrenaline-shaking strangers burst out. We babbled robbery. He radioed police, guided us to staff room, locked door. Lily and Glaswegian scrambled into Shaft. I heard a Toronto woman after. Irish couple followed. I threw metronome at Stabber's shin, ducked into vent, dragging grate closed. If next August I catch a hush in Dawn Patrol burners or hear someone whisper flight paths, I'll tighten bag straps, check venue registry, and decline free exclusives. Urban legends color crowds. The wrong hands weaponize them. The Night Whisperer didn't blow us into the desert. He guided Marks through hydrogen meter silence into a vault where value outweighed applause. And the Phantom still stalked Royal Mile, probably polishing a fresh stack of waxy imitations, waiting for anyone who believes every secret show is art, not bait. Screw too cluttered. Clicks of metronome, now 40 BPM longer hush. Irish tourist hoisted Lily, who shoved grate. Metal shrieked, swung inward, revealing narrow shaft to service stair. I still chase festivals, but flyers go straight to recycle, unless issued by box office. And I trust only rooftops with council permits. Police found table with RFID skimmers, Simpre mobiles, and stack of forged festival passes. Edinburgh's phantom myth served dual purpose: lure folklore hunters and explain missing gear as supernatural mischief, not organized crime. Flyers coated in microcrystalline powder showed prints of every attendee useful for later identity theft. Cellar had fresh drywall concealing side exit into Cowgate parking bay, where CCTV later caught white transit. Peeling out 23.5, I whispered to Lily, "They're robbing us." She caught only Rob, eyes widening. Glaswegian student murmured similar worry. We rose. Hat man's voice sharpened. Sit, the interval hush is delicate. And forced all pop-up venues to register address GPS with Fringe HQ or face immediate shutdown. Volunteer ushers now scan passes with an app that cross-checks central database, even one-night-only gigs. He stepped off rostrum, blocking aisle. Hands steepled. He leaned close. Faint, chemical, smell dry, cleaner solvent. She excused herself through a side door, bolt sliding. Hatman produced a slim folding knife, thumb flicking blade like orchestra baton. I scanned arch ceiling, iron ventilation grate high on wall, rusted but maybe movable. Lily's Nikon still hung on her. She'd refused to bag professional kit, a lucky oversight. She pulled an L-shaped Allen key from quick-release plate pouch. We formed human pyramid on chair. She reached great screws, worked first one free. Stone dust snowed. Tannic simmered. Toronto tourists staggered. Cider earlier. She paled. Hatman instructed us to remain until the tempo ceased, then vanished behind curtain. Metronome clicked into life. Slow 60 BPM ticks that echoed like drips. Lights dimmed to twilight. 2 LED lanterns, flat panel camping lights, hung from railing posts, marking a narrow staircase that corkscrewed below George IV. 4 other punters loitered there, a Dublin couple chasing fringe folklore, a Glaswegian drama student, and a solo tourist from Toronto, still clutching a cider. Pop-ups insisted spaces were free but limited. She checked our flyer, QR codes, no scanning device. Just a glance and unlatched a corrugated metal gate that looked newly installed. Waves of damp earth greeted us as we descended into what should have been one of the city's abandoned, vaulted cellars. Portable uplights kicked on, painting walls magenta. The corridor opened into a chamber, perhaps 8 meters long by 5 tall, stone arch ceilings, blackened but dry. A ring of folding chairs faced a rostrum draped in midnight blue fabric matching the flyer. Atop it, a polished Victorian writing desk holding a battered metronome and an old phonograph. Curiosity beat caution. I accepted. The paper was heavier than standard A5 surface satin slick. White serif letters read, "The unlisted show, one night, only witness what hides between notes." No venue name, only a QR code and the time 2340. A hand-drawn arrow pointed south. He wasn't juggling or hawking tickets, just watching foot traffic. In his hand gleamed a stack of Navy flyers. My folklore antenna twitched. Lily whispered, "Your phantom?" I shrugged but kept distance. She'd landed a commission to capture Fringe After Dark for Arts Weekly and needed company for the grimmer winds. We inhaled curry trays, swapped battery packs, and wandered toward the mile-hunting golden hour portraits. I marshal part-time for Underbelly Purple t-shirt, radio set. Clipboard mostly to dodge 20 pounds ticket prices and because hurting audiences feels easier than answering client email. Before this year's festival, my only brush with danger was a seagull dive-bombing a crepe out of my hand. Then I met the flyer phantom, an urban legend I used to recite for laughs until it stepped off Reddit and into a Cowgate doorway. The story circulates every fringe. A tall busker and a cracked bowler hat glides down the Royal Mile. At dusk, handing glossy flyers printed edge to edge midnight blue. Nobody remembers his face, just the hat and the way the paper feels waxy, almost damp. If you pocket the flyer, the story warns, your phone battery bleeds dry inside an hour. And before the night's last call, something expensive vanishes. Skeptics blame pickpockets who flood the city each August. Believers claim the phantom marks victims with invisible ink the moment they touch the sheet. I'd passed enough drug safety briefings to chalk it up to static electricity and coincidence. Opening Saturday thrummed like a turbine. Bagpipe dueled K-pop dancers, while portable amps fed on every outlet that hadn't been taped shut by council works. Halfway up, Castle Street, a magician in Victorian tales riffled cards near the iron bollards. drawing a semicircle of Americans. Sun dipped. Theatergoers bled toward their 7 o'clock slots. Crowds thinned enough that Hatman clocked us easily. Hatman dipped a half bow and slipped into Victoria Street traffic. Free shows at the Fringe are everywhere. Secret ones less so. Lily's editor would drool over photos. A woman in theater blocks emerged, clipboard glowing under phone torch. The woman stage manager energy asked us to place phones into provided velvet pouches to prevent light pollution. Hatman glided in. Bowler gone? He wore a long tailcoat, the same navy as Flyers? Hatman's monologue lulled the room. Candle lanterns dimmed further. I feigned needing toilet. He refused. Dublin man stood, demanded phones back. Metronome ticked 45 BPM gap of over a second between clicks, acoustically amplifying our breaths. Footsteps returned. Knife man again, alone, berated us for standing. As Knife man re-entered, I yanked metronome, twisting tempo wheel to maximum. The sudden 200 BPM burst hammered chamber. Surprise bought seconds. We crawled black brick corridor lit by phone torch stolen from my sock. ID slipped it past velvet pouch routine. Officers arrived swift fringe patrol high. They raided vault. Knife man and 2 crew gone, but bag rack empty minus decoy rocks. Investigators linked operation to theft string at Rotterdam International Film Festival. Fake secret shows, guests stripped of tech, criminals vanished before daylight. Festival directors scrapped paper freebies for the rest of run. Issued public alert about unofficial secret shows. Lily sold her photo set Knife man backlit by magenta wash, blade glinting to the Scotsman. Headline hailed guests foiling high-tech robbery. Some nights I replay metronome audio Lily captured by accident. The tempo drop feels like stepping off curb you thought continued. I hit New Orleans for Mardi Gras because my law firm timesheet allowed 5 unbilled days before partnership review. And nothing kills stress like brass bands and cheap neon rum. I'm Ben Wagner, 28, Columbia paralegal by day. Mediocre trumpet hobbyist by night, so the promise of street music blasting until sunup felt worth 2 plane changes and a hostel bunk that smelled permanently of powdered sugar. Supposedly, he appears around the St. Anne intersection after the last float, wearing strings of identical green beads that drape his face like scales. By 10 p.m., Sean and I had 3 hurricane cups, each in a photo roll full of feathered strangers. He ducked into a daiquiri shop for bathroom lines while I leaned against a wrought iron rail, live streaming brass riffs to coworkers back home. My phone buzzed a TNT low battery panic. Still, the figure's stillness felt wrong. Everyone else hustled for taxes or nightcaps. He stood statue quiet, head tilted as though measuring me. I re-entered the club, told Sean some creep was cosplaying legend outside. We followed human current toward Esplanade, hunting gyros. Crowds thinned. Music faded to trash bag rustles. Sean insisted on shortcutting a block south of Dauphine for fewer scooter obstacles. I hesitated, said I'd rather walk. Vest number 2 gestured to Bead Mask jogging up. He's with us. Collects lost jewelry for recycling. Masked man lunged, reached for Sean's sling bag. Truck gone, but tire marks fresh beside a puddle of spilled boxed wine bags. Slit open. Officer noted wine shipments stolen from tents earlier that evening. I kept the cracked charger after detectives returned it, souvenir and reminder. Mardi Gras still lures me. Trumpets don't judge paranoia. And I've booked next year already, volunteering with legit logistics, so I know the badge designs. Whenever a string of identical beads glints under street lamp, I run fingers over a phone brick scar and rehearse exit routes. Legends stick because they're fun. Criminals stitch pockets inside the fun. So if a masked pilgrim taps a wooden coin on bourbon, admire the craftsmanship, but keep your distance. Keep your friend within arm's reach. And remember, some crews roll undercover, selling fear for contactless data and 2 pallets of wine. Vest impersonators had hijacked supply routes, wearing counterfeit crew IDs to blend among legitimate volunteers. Masked collectors scouted drunk tourists, tagging promising targets with distinctive beads for easy pickup. The wooden coin tapped thrice signaled accomplices who carried RFID skimmers in vest pockets. Tapped once meant target profiled. Twice meant ready for snatch. My charger blow likely fractured his orbital. Blood droplets trailed to a fence where officers recovered the shattered dough balloon. I jammed phone charger brick into his bead curtain. Plastic cracked against cheek. He reeled. Coin clattered floor. I shoved Sean down alley mouth. We sprinted toward Chartres where a mounted cop silhouette patrolled. Footfalls thundered behind for 20 paces, then stopped. Hop in and we'll drop y'all quick. Masked man stepped under cargo light. Strands clicked wood coin against palm, twice familiar rhythm turned directive. They intercepted at I-10 on-ramp, seizing pallets of stolen wine, 40 phone wallets, 10 passports, and 2 bead masks threaded with NFC tags. The crew used NFC to clone tap-to-pay cards while victims rode courtesy shuttles. Losses showing hours later. Festival coordinators invalidated every volunteer badge overnight, rolling out QR verification printable by any officer's phone. Local news dubbed Ring the Bead-Faced Bandits urban myth weaponized into logistics heist. Halfway down, a woman in neon wig vomited in shrubbery, so we detoured into a dim side street lit only by a busted soda vending machine. 50 feet in, footsteps echoed behind rhythmic, not staggering. I glanced back. Same bead-veiled figure, hoodie darker under street lamp acne. He raised hand, tapped doubloon once against bead strands, dry clack echoed brick walls. He laughed it off. Buy him a shot next time. Ben pointed to our pitcher killing itself on ice. I stayed inside, phone charging, wave of brass drowning unease. I plugged phone, locked eyes with the bead veil, and stepped back. He lifted a hand, tapped the wooden doubloon with index finger 3 times, then pivoted into a littered alley beside the bar. At the block's dead-end loop, we found a white box truck idling, rear door open, hazard lights blinking. 2 men in Mardi Gras volunteer vests lifted cases of something inside. Their badges read Crew Logistics, same style as festival staff we'd passed earlier. Relief fluttered. Official people meant safety. We asked directions back to Frenchmen. Vest number 1 smiled wide, said they could drive us 2 streets over safer than walking with sketchy crowds. Accent rolled more upper Midwest than Southern. I told Sean I'd step outside for a power bank in my sling bag. He gave thumbs up eyes on a woman teaching him Zydeco footwork. I pushed through the door, felt humid air slap lungs, and fished for the charger. A man in an oversized hoodie materialized beside the barrel, scooped something shiny, and slipped it into his pocket. Those discarded green beads. Street lamp glare caught a small wooden coin dangling at the strand's end, doubloon etched with fleur-de-lis. My brain dinged folklore reference. The man's face remained hidden by bead strings swaying like seaweed, just enough reflection to mimic the myth's mask. That's when a street hustler in a glitter blazer thrust green beads toward my lens. I laughed, shook my head. He hissed, free, man-cheap advertising, and slipped a strand over my head. Beads felt heavier than typical plastic, almost metal cool. I thanked him. He vanished into throng. Legend claims if he taps your shoulder with a wooden doubloon, whatever you bragged about that night watch, wallet, girlfriend disappears before dawn. Bartenders retell the story knowing tourists will tip extra for creepshow ambiance. I filed it next to Bloody Mary mirrors and kept walking. College buddy Sean flew in from Denver to split beer costs. We agreed on one rule: no separate wandering after midnight. Bourbon Street entropy shreds normal judgment, and even insurance adjusters need boundaries. Locals talk about a carnival. Myth called the bead-faced man. Fat Tuesday delivered everything the travel sites promised. Parade ladders packed with kids, officers on horseback guiding floats, and a sun that painted Canal Street gold and sticky. Sean re-emerged, weaved us toward Frenchman Street for real music. And we forgot the necklace until midnight when we hit a dive called the Spotted Cat. The bouncer halted me. No outside beads. Liability thing. I shrugged them off. He tossed them into a trash barrel behind the rope. Inside, a clarinet wailed St. James Infirmary, and we lost an hour to beer pitchers and strangers dancing shoulder to shoulder. At 107A, tourist nerves fluttered, but I reminded myself Mardi Gras equals costume overload. I wanted to dismiss it, yet my pulse argued otherwise. By 2:15, last call lights blinked. Sean whispered, "Dude, that's theater ignore." My gut vetoed a quickened pace. The figure matched. Sean hopped onto the lift gate before I processed. Inside smelled like stale bleach. Spider sense screamed. I yanked Sean's hoodie, pulled him off lift. He stumbled. Vest number 1 cursed Minnesota vowels gone. Hiss sharp. We flagged police. Breath shriving. Officers radioed units. We pointed out truck location. 5 minutes later, sirens boxed Dauphine. NOPD tracked the box truck via nearby liquor store camera. Plate registered to a Pensacola rental. Sean flew home with bruised ego and a story that kills at brewery tables. My former flatmate Emma Keogh left Melbourne last year with a rail pass, a backpack, and a single plan. Check Oktoberfest in Munich off her bucket list before turning 30. 2 weeks after the festival ended, she voice called from a Frankfurt airport lounge and asked if I could save an audio diary for insurance or police or whoever. I clipped the file, scrubbed plane engine hum, and typed exactly what she said. The paragraphs below are Emma's words. I'm only the punctuation. I landed in Munich on a gray Tuesday, 3 days into the Wiesn. Buzzcut appeared beside me so fast I didn't register stairs, steadying my elbow, guiding me through crowd away from the wheel, not toward the kiosk. My brain lagged 3 beats behind logic. Something in that flimsy cup must have been spiked. A white Sprinter van idled just beyond with sliding door jar. Interior lit hospital bright. 2 cot frames inside, plastic wrapped. Buzzcut's hand pressed center of my back now, gentle but directional. Street-wearing pedestrians were absent here, only staff badges and forklifts. The air smelled like damp straw and sugar, and every station platform rattled with Gordians. Doctors said mix can mimic extreme drunkenness, memory gaps, muscle compliance. CCTV finally tracked the van slipping through service gate 3:15 minutes after I ran. The drunk tourist sipped in foil, found wandering 2 kilometers away near theirs in Wise U-Bahn. Phone and wallet missing, last memory a free hydration tablet from friendly medics. Perfect for easy abductions in a festival where everyone assumes you just hammered. Then Tollwood Winter Festival, always 2 volunteers with medical signage. Always a discreet white van registered under short-term export plates. None are supernatural. all exploit a local legend or uniform gap. Emma's Oktoberfest vanishings remind me festivals are ripe hunting grounds where myths hand criminals the perfect disguise. Next time I see an unlit torch or a pop-up aid station, I'll test the QR code before trusting the smile, and I'll keep a foil blanket, but for the right reasons. Rumor threads call them the beerest crew half-joke name. Half-urban legend warning travelers not to trust pop-up paramedics. Every few meters I blinked, hoping clarity would return. It didn't. Security patrols got body cams and randomized routes, so no crew can predict blind zones. The festival's tourist map prints a banner. Only seek help at Bavarian Red Cross tents or uniformed police. My watch haptics thrummed heart rate alarm from the fitness app. 140 BPM while walking. Red flag. But I wanted one more ride on the Ferris wheel for the skyline photo Instagram would worship. The queue looked 30 minutes, so I ducked under the tent awning near a medical relief kiosk. White pop-up roof. Green cross taped to vinyl. 2 volunteers in reflective smocks. She filed police statement, burned the foil blanket sent out of memory with espresso, and flew home. Her voice memo ends. I still love crowds, just not unvetted uniforms. She recommends 3 rules for any big festival. Snap a reference photo of official medic gear share. Your live location with a friend before the 3rd drink, and if a stranger offers help, look at their shoes. Cheap trainers under a pro vest means something's off. His grip tightened. Ponytail emerged from shadows. Phone pressed to ear. Speaking German too fast for my A-level classes. She nodded at me, then the van. One of them, a man maybe late 30s, blonde buzz cut, laminated badge reading notice to assist, offered a foil blanket and said I could wait under their heater until the wheel reopened. I faked a stumble, letting foil blanket slip. Buzz cut bent to catch it. I rammed my backpack edge up under his jaw, cheap move, but enough force to make him grunt. I bolted, vision flickering like low battery torch. People in rain jackets blurred as I careened into Midway proper. I aimed for the police kiosk I'd seen that afternoon near the Paulaner tent blue sign police under floodlight. His English was crisp and he knew Melbourne's, he claimed he'd studied in Sydney. I crashed into a queue at the chestnut cart, spun, and emptied my stomach theatrically. The crowd recoiled, opening lane to the cops. I staggered through, pointing, slurring fake medic's van, before words disintegrated. An officer grabbed my shoulders. Next blink I sat in the medical trailer, actually run by Bavarian Red Cross, sliding into arm. My hostile bunkmates, Canadians, naturally dragged me to the fairgrounds before I'd unpacked. The other medic dark ponytail, same badge guided the drunk with businesslike calm. Buzzcut told me security didn't let drunk patrons back inside tents once they left. Their kiosk rehydrated them until cabs arrived. Sounded legit. I stayed, finishing the lukewarm beer I'd carried out. We spent daylight in the Hacker Shore tent, shoulder to shoulder on benches, trading mass times with strangers. Nothing felt dangerous. Bavarians clinked glass with the precision of air traffic controllers. By dusk rain slicked every wooden plank outside. My crew peeled off to hunt kebabs. While we chatted, a staggering tourist tried to collapse on the cot behind him. Rain quit after 20 minutes. Buzzcut flicked the plastic wall open, said Ferris operations were clearing. I thanked him, stepped into the crowd, and felt my knees misfire. It wasn't normal wobble. It felt like muscles unplugged. Vision tunneled at the edges, audio muffled. I'd had 3 steins over 6 hours, plenty for a buzz. Never this. Cold needle through foil blanket. I turned back toward the kiosk, maybe sugar crash, but Buzzcut and Ponytail were zipping the drunk tourist into a reflective bivy sack with alarming speed. I saw his arms flop, palms slack as sleep. I called, "You okay, mate?" Ponytail glanced over her shoulder and gave a thumbs up, but her eyes slid past me like checking exits. He murmured that a quieter triage station sat behind the souvenir halls. We drifted past steaming bratwursts, neon gingerbread hearts. We reached a service gate flanked by stacked beer crates. I pivoted toward open festival lights, mumbled that I'd forgotten my friends. Adrenaline shot fissures through the haze, enough to lift my heel onto a crate stack. Behind me, footsteps slapped. Buzz cuts, voice barked English curses. Hospital toxicology later showed scopolamine, devil's breath, low dose, and trace benzodiazepine. Police raided vendor parking by 11. Sprinter gone, but stall holders recognized the white tent logo pop-up had appeared only tonight. Park fee paid in cash. Munich detectives later tied similar theft kidnappings to a trio who surfaced at Rhine in flames. Oktoberfest organizers replaced paper laminated badges with NFC chips scannable by any visitor's smartphone. Real medics now wear jackets, broadcasting a QR code to official staff lists. As for Emma, she missed her Ferris wheel photo, but the hospital cleared her after 12 hours and a liter of fluids. The Ashen Pilgrim, the Breaker Code, the Blue Screen Walker, my running list of modern boogeymen keeps growing.